In making this video, we recorded many hours of interviews with villagers whose memories go back to the beginning of the last century. A few fragments we show here, but all material has been archived for the future. Rosie Whale, at 96, can remember with clarity her school days, and also the choir that she joined later.
Oh yes, I can remember going. I liked going to school. It was just one big room, you know, and it was partitioned off for the beginners, and we had a very nice old schoolmaster, Mr. Reynolds, and his wife was in the infants. I don't think there's any around now that used to be really at school when I was. You know, they're all passed on. Oh yes, this is the old thingamajig choir. I'm on here. Oh, Miss Tara was the school missus. Billy Harding. Look at old Duckett stood up there with his bow tie. Bloody, that don't look like me with me hair there. Oh, Fred Hand, the blacksmith. Oh, Billy Harding, the gardener. Mrs. Taylor, the Reverend Taylor. Mrs. Tom Spratt.
The arrival of the railway caused a great upheaval. In the 1880s, a twin-track line linking Hurstbourne and Fullerton was built through the Test Valley. It carved straight through Wherwell.
The railway was built in 1887. That's an early picture of the railway. When it was a double track. It was laid as a double track to start with, which lasted until 1916.
I used to climb on the wires and wave to the train drivers. I was about 10, I suppose, and they knew me as well as I knew them, and it was lovely. It was a bit like the railway children, you know.
I can remember having tuppence to spend and having a penny ride to Fullerton and a bar of chocolate out of the thing at Fullerton because there wasn't one at Wherwell, and then walk back.
I also used to slip down and put crossed safety pins on the line before the train came, and when it went over it looked rather like a pair of scissors. I mean, I wasn't really allowed to go on the railway line, as you can imagine.
And of course, going back to the Jenkins, I mean, perhaps I'm going back over the ground again, twice a year they used to have a special train, once to go up to Scotland, and they used to take the staff and everybody, you know, and the other time was up to Leicestershire for the hunting season.
The staff and the horses went on a special train from Wherwell Station, and when they came back, the train usually got in at 3:30 in the afternoon, so we were let out of school half an hour earlier, because quite a number of the staff that had gone, the children hadn't seen their father for 3 months.
The railway was never a commercial success, and by the end of World War II was virtually redundant.
Yes, well, it would have closed directly the war finished if it hadn't been for the fact that the thousands of tons of bombs up in the forest, and they were taking trainloads of bombs out for a couple of years after, while they were clearing up the forest. And as soon as the RAF finished with the forest, the railway closed completely.
And so the railway came and went. During its construction, over 20 men lost their lives. Today you have to look hard to find evidence that it was ever there. Mature trees grow in the cuttings. The bridges moulder away. Wherwell was deeply affected by 2 world wars. The War Memorial records the name of villagers who served in the First World War. There is a total of 99 names, an incredibly large number for such a small village. 26 were never to return.
Oh, I can remember the First World War. I remember when it was declared, and then all the boys were called up, and we had loads of troops marching through the village. And They brought the big guns up through there, and the poor old horses, some of them couldn't, you know, get along, and they had to come out. It was grim. And then they billeted us on, them on us, you know. Sometimes when they came through and they couldn't go on, they used to stay in Pike's Meadow, where the hedges are now. Yes, there was quite a lot from Wherwell. I believe it was 41. But there was quite a number lost during the war. Boys.
Strangely, except for a book of remembrance in the church, there is no formal tribute to those who fought in World War II. But its impact was considerable. Many of today's villagers were youngsters when it started. Indeed, some were still at school.
The siren went. Immediately war was declared. I was in the garden with the grandparents, and it was a false alarm, of course.
I think my first memories of the war as a young boy was one laying in bed at night and hearing the German bombers go over.
Remember the convoys and of lorries and tanks and all the rest of it going through the village.
Well, we at night when there was bombings happening in Portsmouth, we used to stand up on the railway bridge, and you could see all the sort of the flashes and that.
Yes, you could actually see it from our windows. You could see the flames going up as it was being bombed.
At daytime, we went down to Fullerton to watch the Spitfires having the dogfights.
You could hear the distinct noise of these German engines, and that droning overnight seemed something distant and yet close.
Well, apart from the men going, as my husband did, life really went on more or less the same.
And I remember going to school with my gas mask. I had to take my gas mask in a little brown box. Fortunately, I don't think we ever had to wear them. Some people in the village had air raid shelters, but we didn't. But I think that as children we accepted that there was a war. That was it.
Suddenly the Americans arrived, and the whole place took off, especially for us kids, as we hadn't had any sweets for years, we hadn't had fruit or anything like that. So chasing these Americans around and asking for gum, and even doing worse things like there was a huge big dump up at Newton Stacey where they used to dump all their rubbish, and we used to go and collect crates of grapefruit and things like that off the dump and take them home.
They seem to have found Wherwell, one told the other. There was Air Force, Army, there was Australians, in fact Canadians, and they all used to congregate at the pub, and it was very social. Shove Hate New was the most important game.
As a kid, we used to go into the woods, open the ammunition boxes, take out I think it was 20mm cannon stuff or something, I can't remember. But the amazing thing was we used to sit on the road and hit the tops of them until they got loose, take them out, and then take the cordite out to make fireworks.
In fact, we rather enjoyed it, even though it was war. We shouldn't say that, but we rather had fun. And every Saturday night there was a village hop, which was sixpence, and all the troops came down. It was really great fun.
Wherwell suffered no serious damage in World War II, which is surprising, since a strategic fighter airbase at the neighbouring village of Chilbolton and a massive explosives dump at Harewood Forest were both uncomfortably close.